Welcome to Beyond the Blend, the podcast that goes behind the science and talks to the people at the heart of the lubricant market, telling the real story of the people who make the lubricant market move. With real insight and honest conversations, we aim to show off the people's side from across the entire lubricant supply chain. Join me, Steve Knapp, and Rob Taylor as we delve behind the scenes of the lubricant industry. Let's go. Let's dive in with a quick 5-5 for today's guest. Running on hills or running on roads?
Definitely hills, unless it's downhill.
Yeah, I get that. A golf handicap of 28, is that honest, generous, or modest?
Modest. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Engineer or salesperson?
Both at the same time.
Oh, you can only choose one.
Sales. I've got to bit.
There you go. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Definitely an early bird. Yeah.
I was this morning, which I'm sure we'll get into. And a clean hydraulic system or a perfect round of golf?
I don't get a chance to play golf, hence my 28 handicap, so a clean hydraulic system.
But that's a very professional answer there. Well done. So good. Hey, listen, thanks for that. It's I know you never know what's coming with those, so thanks for answering honestly to the most part and sitting on the fence for a couple. Yeah, excited to catch up with you, Jamie, today. I know we met for the first time during the Beyond the Blend live roundtable and part of the Lubricant Social, which you jumped along to in Sheffield, which was great to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe you've been a bit of a listener and a fan of the podcast for a while. So it's great to actually catch up, well, not only in Sheffield face-to-face, but actually a bit more dedicated time as a guest on the podcast. So thanks for doing that. Because
no worries.
Just as we dive into your intro, I must help frame this for the listeners. I know when you were part of the panel for the live episode in Sheffield, I asked for a brief summary of each of the guests, and I've got to say, Jamie, you did a very thorough job in sending me probably the longest summary I think I've ever read.
Yeah, I kind of realised when I'd finished it that it was rather in depth, and obviously the only reason I did it is to be here today for my own special dedicated edition.
There you go. Well, there must have been enough in it to have a good conversation around. So thanks for sending me your autobiography. It sits nicely on my bookshelf. Jamie, seriously, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Take some time, introduce yourself for those who aren't aware of who you are, what you do, who you work for. Give us the potted history of Jamie.
Okay, so my name is Jamie Shaw. I'm the director of a company called OMS LubriTek, business that I started 10 years ago with two of my colleagues. So we are predominantly a service-driven business, focusing predominantly on the plastics and injection molding industry. Always kind of had a desire to run my own business from kind of going back with people that I kind of grew up with them through my apprenticeship, and then going off and kind of setting business up and kind of going down their own route in different industries. Always had that desire, always had that itch there to start my own business, and we're kind of coming up to 10 years in now. It's certainly had challenges along the way, but definitely rewarding. For me personally, I've definitely kind of grown as a person over the 10 years, mainly kind of with the grey hair and more wrinkles, but no, I absolutely love what we're doing. I've got a thrive and a passion for it, for kind of being able to do something that I want to do myself with a great team within the business. So it's all good fun.
Fabulous. I mean, I know this is an audio podcast, but you really light up when you talk about the ambition and the doing something for myself and the desire. And it's what I picked up when we met in Sheffield for the first time, because I can kind of resonate with that a little bit. It's like when I was young, I'm pointing at the height, but again, it's an audio podcast. I always said I want to work for myself, and I didn't really know what that was. And I wonder for you, Jamie, what was the early ambition for you? Because I'm sure it wasn't in the lubricants industry, or was it? And if where did you want to go when you set up yourself?
I think the thing with setting up a business on my own was kind of finding a kind of a passion or maybe like an industry that you could actually make a difference. I feel that the team is critical for any form of success. I went into it completely and utterly blind, not knowing how things were going to pan out, which I guess that's what people do when they set up a business on their own. But I think also as well, when I kind of started getting involved in the oil management sector, it was something kind of brand new to me, although I'd been in the lubricants industry for probably about 10 years at this point. This kind of sector was completely new. And when I kind of came into it, I thought, wow, this is an area where you could actually make a real difference. It's a really niche kind of market and service offering, and when you're kind of looking at the complete package. But I think also the thing as well is when I looked at it, I thought there is so much more that can be done here with blending the oil management services and also the lubricants. So kind of went into it pretty blind, not knowing a great deal about it, but thinking actually there's something here that I really do think that it's worth a pop. Crazily, right from the start, kind of thinking back 10 years. But I guess, when you set up a business on your own, you've just got to kind of go jump into it really and see what happens.
Well, you do, don't you? And I think there's a certain ignorance is bliss in a way. You don't know what you don't know when you start. It's like, this sounds like a good idea. Whereas if you'd have had 20 years of picking up habits and the way things are done and in this industry, you might not have the business you have today. So I think it's a great lesson for those that are looking at starting something. You don't have to be an expert in an industry to change that industry. And I think sometimes it's the better for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You've mentioned 10 years of business, which is fabulous. Congratulations on that. And I think there's another milestone for you. Did you say we don't like mentioning ages particularly here, but you turned 50 this year.
Yeah. End of August, 50-year-old, yeah.
How does that feel like a milestone? Because let me ask why I'm asking that question. Let me tell you why I'm asking it. I'm 41, and when I turned 40, it felt different. Like, I'm not a big one for birthdays, like 39, 37, 20, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It just feels like another day. But 40, I was kind of like, ooh, that feels like an age. I remember being in the schoolyard when I was a kid, when one of my mates said, my mum's turning 40, and we thought, she's well old.
Proper old.
Now I'm older than that.
Yeah.
So do you get that now, turning what's going to be 50? Help me out.
Well, I remember turning 40 a month, so and it feels like about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nah, do you know what? I think ultimately, age is just a number as well. I guess it's one of those things where you've got to look at kind of life and go, let's kind of throw yourself into absolutely everything. I've not really got like a bucket list of things I want to do when I'm 50, but I've got kind of a couple of things planned coming up later this year. So I've signed up for the Great North Run, which I'm doing in September. So you mentioned about in one of your the 5 questions, running on road or outdoors. And the knees are really taking a bit of a pounding right now. So I think the thing of maybe turning 50, it wasn't maybe such a good idea to run a half marathon.
Hey, maybe it's the best idea.
Yeah, maybe that as well. It kind of keeps you going, doesn't it? But as I enjoy life, my wife has made sure that I've got a good work-life balance. We met when I'd just started the business. In fact, when we bumped into her on a night out in Leeds, and she said, "What do you do for a job?" I said, "I'm on dole." But you know
how to catch them.
Absolutely. But on the work-life balance thing, obviously I work hard because I've got to work hard. Being the driver of the business, but it's also important to have that downtime as well. And kind of love getting out in the fresh air and walking. We went away last weekend up to Ingleborough, and it's just so nice just to get out in the countryside and just kind of let everything come out. And I think that definitely helps, physically and mentally. And that when you're knocking on a little bit, you've got to kind of look after yourself in both aspects, really.
Well, you do, and I think I'm always curious about listening to other business leaders and owners' attitudes towards those boundaries and cutting off, because I think it's one of the hardest things to do, isn't it? Especially when we're a 24/7 connected person. We had a laugh just before we came on air here about, I just took my smart watch off, so I'm not going to get disturbed, and shut my emails down. That should be quite enjoyable. Do you find that a bit of a practice, or is it just something you've always been good at doing, sort of separating work and life?
I'd say it's a practice. There are times, again, having your own business does lend also to other kind of contacting issues. If you've got a customer that wants something, that needs something because they've got a machine down, then you do have to react. I think it's more of the case of, I will react if I need to, and I have done that over the years, whether it be kind of weekends, holiday times and things. But I do definitely try and draw a line and say, right, the business will carry on. We've got a great team within the business, and we all do respect each other's kind of personal time and downtime. So, and I think that's one of the good things about the business, where we've got that great blend.
Yeah, a nice culture, I guess, developing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the culture of it, and that definitely did start from day one. We understand that we've got to look after each other as well, and we all need kind of time away from work. But on the flip side of that, we all kind of put the effort in to make the business a success.
You work hard as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I guess my biggest personal reflection on that is that when you love what you do and you enjoy doing what you do, switching off becomes a thing of like, well, I enjoy doing it. Like, why would I just sit silently on the sofa if I think, well, I enjoy doing this bit a bit more, so I'm just going to do more of that. It's a real interesting one. It's why I'm a big supporter of finding a balance that works for you, and been very non-judgmental about it, because you read all the gurus or read the books, it's always like, you must switch off here. It's like, well, why? If I work better at this point, why would I switch off because everyone tells me to? I think there's a real independence around choice for that. Yeah, so it's good to hear others' reflections on it. Talk to me about running then. Have you always been a runner, or is it as crazy, I'm turning 50, therefore I need to start running everywhere?
There is just a small story in that, is that when I was at high school, I got put on detention with the headmaster, and the headmaster was a keen runner. And he said, we're not going to sit in the classroom for your detention. We're going to go out and have a run. And I thought I was a bit of a strange guy. So I thought, I need to get as far away from you as I possibly can through this cross-country run. Not in a bad way. But that actually led to me then representing the school in the, I think it was sort of like the Northern Schools cross country championship. So that kind of got me into the running. I mean, I'm not a massive avid runner, to be totally honest. I probably had maybe a gap of about 15 years since I've last done it. But I think I've seen this as a bit of a challenge. I'm doing the Great North Run for charity, so that kind of gives you that inspiration and motivation as well. So I'd much prefer to be playing golf, to be honest, Rob.
Yeah, running around a golf course, running after your balls.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, you've run the Yorkshire Three Peaks. Just tell us what that is and how challenging that is, because it's no mean feat, is it? So tell us around that.
Yeah. So that was something we did last year. Again, that was to raise money for a friend of ours who's was unfortunately suffered a brain tumor, which is the raise funds of her. And so yeah, extremely challenging. I would say you've obviously got the three peaks themselves. It's 3 Yorkshire peaks. Is this one? There's a national one that you're doing 24 hours, and then this one is the Yorkshire Three Peaks. So it's 24 miles. So pretty difficult and very, very challenging.
And it's done in one go, is that right?
Yeah, one go, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least you've got a good purpose and a cause behind it. And I guess,
Yeah,
shout out the charity as well. What's the charity?
Yeah,
you're
so
raising money for?
it's a personal charity. So it's our friend, a lady called Claire Nutter. She lives up near Burnley, and she's kind of gone through chemotherapy for a brain tumor, but now she's trying to raise funds for additional treatment in Germany. Unfortunately, we kind of come to the end of the road with from an NHS standpoint. They're actually doing a raffle to raise funds. So they're raffling their home to raise some funds to try and kind of contribute towards it, because it's about £300,000 for the treatment over in Germany. So yeah, it's a difficult kind of situation for them. And then the Great North Run, the other one, that's for a charity called Andy's Man Club. So it's kind of supporting.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware of Andy's Man Club.
Yeah. And I think I kind of like, it kind of makes me think that, whether it be the lubricants industry or the plastics industry that we kind of work in, they're both male-dominated industries, and it's important to kind of promote that men can go to these charities to set up to kind of talk and kind of understand a little bit more about it. It's not just men who may be suffering from mental health issues. It's just people go just to talk. If it's kind of sit in a room with a bunch of guys. So I think it's important to kind of put that out there. And I think for OMS LubriTek as a small company, I'm hoping that we can kind of get involved in promoting that, which will start with the Great North Run later this year. So yeah, it's important. Like you say, the running from a health aspect for myself, but if we can raise some money and awareness along the way, then even better.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, wow. I mean, that's hats off for that. That's fantastic. And I hope you get where you need to be with it. I think it's fantastic. I mean, on the Andy's Man Club side of things, what's the because that's another topic that interests me as well. I think it's a bit of an overlooked space, but then it becomes a bit of a hyped up, like businesses do it because it's a box ticking exercise. They'll say, oh, we'll do something for men because they need something for a day. Whereas I think men just need, that bit more of a deliberate, non-agenda space. It's not a well-being session. You just come along to have a natter, and I think that's what Andy's Man Club's about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe there is, until you start kind of understanding a little bit about it, maybe it's that stigma of from people suffering with mental health, but which obviously is a support network for that. It's a charity that's grown massively over the years, and they're obviously doing something right. So, and I think just like I say, from me, my little ways to just try and raise some awareness will hopefully help. And like I say, if I can bring that in from us into the wider industries, then I guess it can only be a good thing if one person kind of goes, actually, I'm going to give that a try. But like I say, I know people that go just to kind of have a chat.
No, it's a real good thing. One of my little side projects is a little project called Dads in Business, because I feel the same. I don't think there's enough dedicated space or awareness about what it means to be a working dad, working parent, without being told you need to sacrifice being good at home or good at work. I think you can have both, and I think it's often overlooked. So it's interested to see where that develops. It'd be good to follow up with that. I think it's an interesting one. Yeah. So, I mean, busy. You're a busy man. You've got your business, you've got your running, you've got your charities. How do you relax? What does Jamie do when he switches off? What do you do?
Like I mentioned, kind of getting out in the fresh air. We enjoy going out walking, just having time away as well. Kind of, I guess always having something to look forward to is really important. I've got 3 older children, so they're all kind of off on their own. They've all got their own homes now and doing well kind of in their own lives from a work aspect and everything like that. So that's good. So they're not kind of bothering me. So I do. So
don't beat about the bush.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it gives a wife and Terry the cockapoo chance to get away for a night here and there, and just kind of down tools really. That's kind of enjoy that. I love going on holiday and completely getting away from things. I guess kind of just kind of relaxing. Building a barbecue in the back garden, so that'll give me something to do with my dad.
Yeah.
I'll kind of make him cups of teas and butters while he does all
Does the work.
He does the work. I say he's extremely skilled, which he is. He obviously did pass those skills on to me.
Yeah, so I guess for you, a definition of what I'm hearing there, a definition of relaxing is just doing something different. A change is as good as a rest, as they say.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I've kind of dropped that one in as a deliberate one. Because again, before you joined us, I was chatting to James, our producer, who rarely gets a shout out on these podcasts. So James, our producer, he's recently been away to Spain. He's like, I really struggle just to sit and do nothing by a pool. I can't. It's like, go away and relax and just sit by the pool. But I really struggle. I'm thinking, do you know what I do? It's like I like the idea of doing that, but then I'll go and sit by a pool, open a book, and within 10 minutes, I'm like, right, should I go for a walk? Should I do something else?
I'm bored now.
Like, yeah. So just relaxing. If relaxing equals doing nothing, I struggle with it. But it's relaxing with just doing something different. I think it's the change is as good as a rest, as they say.
Absolutely, yeah, of course, yeah.
One. Listen, let's dive back into your professional space. I'd like to know more about your early career. What happened? Where did you start? Where did you go? What lessons have you learned along your way?
Yeah, I started, as we've mentioned about the age factor, quite a few years ago. I completed a mechanical engineering apprenticeship at a chemical factory, which, funnily enough, is literally a stone's throw away from our work premises now, since we moved a couple of years ago. So it's good to smell those nice chemical smells again. So I completed my apprenticeship there. So, and then kind of, I did maybe 2 years or so as a mechanical engineer out of my apprenticeship. I remember when in your apprenticeship, you went around different areas of the business. So like you go into the drawing office. They did have CAD back in them days. You go into kind of like the projects team. You go work with the contractors on the welding side. So you kind of got a bit of a feel of different roles within the business. And I just remember kind of thinking, I think I prefer to move into like project engineering. And the engineering foreman said to me, "You've absolutely no chance you're staying here." And I kind of looked at guys that had maybe worked there for 20, 25 years, putting the breathing apparatus on the chemical suits and climbing into reactors and things. And I'm like, nah, I'm definitely not staying here for the rest of my career. So I kind of literally then, probably about 21-year-old here, stumbled into sales. Never saw myself as a salesperson. Again, alluding to your question earlier, engineer or sales. I do definitely feel, and still now that I'm an engineering at heart. But I kind of literally stumbled into sales, not lubricants at this point, but it was a company that sold technical sealing solutions. And I remember, again, kind of as you develop within the business, there were different sectors, and I started off internal sales, and I can still kind of feel the anxiety now of that first day when there were maybe 3 of us that started at the same time, and the team leader said, "Right, Jamie, it's your turn to pick the phone up to the next incoming call." And it was rather daunting experience. Kind of progressed there into, because of my chemical background, into a sector around the chemical, petrochemical, pharmaceutical and food industries. One of the main products was a split seal. So where you would typically have braided packing or a mechanical seal, this seal splits completely in half. It was actually an American product that they brought over. And so working within the food sector, we had a job to install a seal at McVitie's in Manchester, where they make Jaffa cakes. So I fit the seal the first time, and they started the machine up and it leaked. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's kind of dark chocolate from a Jaffa cake. We'll have a bit of that. But I had a bit of a tour around the factory, and I think that's one of the things that I really, really enjoy even now is asking people if we can have a look around, kind of show that interest in what people do, what components they're manufacturing. And the one about it is he said the best time to have a Jaffa cake is when it comes hot off the production line on a conveyor. And he never gave me one.
Yeah, really? Oh, you never got one?
Terrible. One thing also as well, in this company that I work for, and I was going to tell the story when we got together down in Sheffield a few weeks ago, is when you mentioned about company or people that you go see as a salesperson, your customers not realizing that they've got a problem. And I was going to tell this story, but I never got a chance. So I went to a chemical manufacturing plant where their final product was a powder. We'd had us meeting, and I said, is there any kind of problems that you have on site? No, everything's fine. So we went and had us walk around, and we're maybe about 3 stories up on a production facility at this point. And there's a screw conveyor with a small mountain of white powder underneath where the seal was. So this is kind of going, the abrasive powders are going into the bearings. And I said, so is that not an issue? He went, oh, no, that's normal, that. I went, but he says, but it is an issue, as in, like, it's also a fire risk when all the fine powders are dropping down. I'm like, okay. So when we said about any issues on site, but I think because they've just been used to having this for such a long time, didn't kind of see it as a problem.
It's just normal for us. It always happens like that.
It's always like that. Yeah. That's not a problem. That's just we've got to deal with that.
Lower hit rates, missed targets, and no receptionist to patch you through because buyers decide before you arrive. Selling Lubricants Smarter tells Dan Wilder's story of ditching the old playbook. Qualify hard with SpanCop. Plan sharper meetings with Whopper. Use AI to move faster and turn technical expertise into clear outcomes buyers trust. Built on the Buyer Revolution research, it's a practical blueprint for modern lubricant selling. Search Selling Lubricants Smarter on Amazon and buy your copy today.
Kind of right from my journey within sales, it was a technical sale. It was understanding your customers' needs. It was a solution-driven product that you were kind of selling. And then I moved into a company that they were the UK sole agent for a product called Dingzer. Now, it's probably one of those names that if you're from the welding industry, everybody knows it because they invented and patented something called a Dingzer connector. So it's when 2 welding cables are connected together, it kind of plug and twist. There's a load of copies nowadays, but they're still the original and best.
The original,
best
yeah.
The original best, yeah. So I came into this business to develop the UK sales network, both direct sales, which was predominantly automotive industry. So a lot of that was robotic welding. And then the other side of it was the distributor network as well. So it was a really, really interesting role that I had in kind of, if you like, starting from scratch, but again, selling a product which was more technically advanced. So rather than saying this widget costs this and your widget costs that, and a decision being based on cost, it was based on performance. It was how long will that widget last in your robot welding torch, and how many components, and how will that affect or reduce the scrap rate and things like that. So that was more the focus there. I think this must have been around 2008, and then the crash happened, and the automotive industry kind of came to a grinding halt. And then I came into the lubricants industry then. So and that was a roll call. Yeah, I think again, anybody that's gone through an apprenticeship will know roll call RTD. It's a product that everybody uses. So you've got you tap in liquid or you tap in paste, and it's just always there in a maintenance bin. So I worked in the metalworking fluid team, and again, it was a technical sale. There was a lot of kind of cheap products on the market, so you would sell it based on things like the dilution rate. So your barrel may be double the price, but you get 4 times the amount of finished fluid. You're looking at the tool life improvements, which is the majority of costs for things like your CNC machining companies. So again, that was the focus. They were really good at the marketing side. I had a fantastic manager that I learned such a lot from in the sales process. I remember one day we went to do a sales call together, and it was with a purchaser. So we always can focus more on production, maintenance, but this one was somebody from the purchasing department. The guy looked out of the window and he said, "Oh, is that your Audi parked there?" And he said, "Yeah." He went, "Oh, well, you're obviously charging a lot for your products." He went, "No, I work hard for my money. And we sell good products." And I'm like, "Yeah, fair play." Back at you. But yeah, no, I enjoyed my time there. I learned so much. I spent such a long time in the laboratory, being the northern sales engineer. A roll collar based just out of Leeds. Spent a lot of time in the laboratory trying to understand the technology behind the metalworking fluids, and which I really do think kind of helped me then in my sales of the products to the customers as well. And I remember one day we kind of building the relationship with the chemists as well. It gave me an opportunity to kind of look at different applications, and one of them was a company that they've closed down in Leeds now, but they're called Cameron Subsea. So they were making the oil and gas products that would kind of sit on the bottom of the ocean and pump the oil and gas out. And they had these tanks that hold 250,000 litres of fluid. It was a metalworking fluid. And they dropped them in and they pumped them with nitrogen. And then they had little ROV cameras that would go around and look for air bubbles. So it was quite a fascinating application. But they bring, after they've done the pressure testing, they bring them out of the test tank. And they were rusting. And they were kind of saying, there's £1 million up there. And basically you need to come up with a product that will solve this issue. So I was straight to the lab. And there was a chap there called Colin Stead, who we got on fantastically well, and such a great guy. And he said, "Right, okay, well, we can do this, we can do that. We'll increase more corrosion inhibitor. We'll remove the dye that would typically go in this product to a base around a grinding fluid, and we put that in." And Cameron's basically said, if this works, you can have the business. And it was just great, really. Everything kind of fitted and worked in well. And it was tough.
And did it work?
It did work. It did. It solved the problem. Yeah. So, but I think what I really, really enjoyed is thriving off things that were a bit different, applications where you could really kind of get your teeth into and say, you've got this problem. And we can come up with a solution for it. As we mentioned earlier, some people don't know they've got a problem. But I think all these things over the years have just kind of helped me develop who I am as a person. I'm interested in finding out more about how things work. Again, we spoke about it when we got together, that the tinkering around is something that doesn't happen anymore. I think it was Jade that alluded to that engineers nowadays, they can't kind of get the fingers involved. But I think there's still a lot of opportunities out there to make a difference as well. To kind of just in industry in general. It was difficult at Brocal though as well. There was some guys that had set up in business probably about 20 years before that were very, very strong in the area. They were all ex-Rocal. So they kind of plucked most of the accounts. Pennine Lubricants were very, very strong in South Yorkshire and were kind of venturing out and doing really well for themselves. And I mentioned Colin Stead from the lab. He'd gone on elsewhere and said, "There's a job going for you, so come and have a bit of a chat with me." So it was the next venture. So this was at Miller's Oils in Brighouse, and I would say it was kind of a completely different world from what I'd been used to. More volume based, price orientated, not technical is what I would say. But
So perhaps more of a challenge to you than a
yeah.
step,
It's
a bit contradictory to what you enjoy doing.
Absolutely, kind of everything that I'd learned as being in lubricant sales had kind of, if you like, gone a little bit out of the window. But I think one of the benefits is that the industrial division was actually quite diverse. So I got involved in kind of more like wire drawing applications, the forming fluids, just a broader application, textiles and things like that. So again, it just kind of opened different avenues for me to get interested in. We had like a new potential customer. It's one of the only copper drawing manufacturers left in the UK. So kind of starting from a billet of copper and going through many processes to drawing it down to like millimeter or half a millimeter in diameter wire. So there was some interesting stuff as well. But this is where I kind of got involved in the oil management. So this was a small division, and I showed an interest in that. And I started going out with, there was a couple of engineers. So Stuart, who now is with us at OMS LubriTek, he was one of the technicians that I went out with. This was to carry out an initial oil fill on 5 injection molding machines. So it was a company based next to Jaguar Land Rover over at Halewood, and they were manufacturing the bumpers for the vehicles. So we're kind of in a van driving into this facility with 2 IBCs of oil or whatever with us, and kind of me with my sales man hat on, I'm kind of thinking, whoa, this is a great opportunity, and this is kind of where the light bulb moment for me came. And I remember kind of saying to Stuart that this is where the difference is between being an engineer asked to go on site to carry out a job and a salesperson, in that there's maybe about 5 or 6 stages for a salesperson before they would even get here stood on a production shop floor. And I kind of said, this is the Willy Wonka golden ticket. Is this somebody is asking you to go in? There's no objections.
They've invited you there. Yeah.
They want you there. Yeah. Yeah. So that for me was, like I said, the light bulb moment as to go, this could potentially be an area where we can look at starting up in business. There was work with Paul in the office. So Paul would kind of pull the strings to say, we need this oil to go there, you need to go there, do this job, and like I said, Stuart was out kind of doing the work on site. So yeah, and I think also as well, it wasn't a focus area because it was such a small percentage. Miller's Oils is kind of more although they had the industrial, which is a big part of the business, but this was a small percentage of that. And overall, as a business, they're more kind of automotive oils. It wasn't the focus area. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure that on our own we can actually do a better job. Yeah. We started that journey in 2016. Kind of had a vision early on of where we wanted it to go, but as I mentioned, without actually knowing what would happen, majority of businesses fail in the first 12 months. So yeah, you just never know what's going to happen. But I think one of the things that I wanted to do straight away was differentiate with the service and the lubricant supply, and particularly on the lubricants, the plastics industry that we work in. I would say the majority see hydraulic oil as a commodity item. Probably even now, 90% of companies will use a standard Group 1 mineral-based hydraulic oil. But we thought we're going to have to offer these products, because if not, nobody will buy them. But in 2017, this is kind of early 2017, we said we're going to promote higher performing base oils. So we launched our GP2 Ultralife, so a Group 2 based hydraulic oil. which were quite interesting really, because I think probably about a year or so later, the majority, or maybe all actually, of the major oil companies exclusively switched to Group 2 base oils. So I'd like to think we're a trailblazer for the
You're
major
a bit
oil
ahead of the
companies.
curve, right? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, take the credit where it is, though.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's so much entrepreneurship coming through. Like, and to say you've never had any formal training around business management, or I guess you can't really train entrepreneurship, can you? Either have it or you don't, I think. And it certainly seems you can spot opportunities quite naturally. And it keeps you buzzing, doesn't it? You can see like your physiology. It's like you love it, like seeing the next
absolutely.
The next thing. And how were those first few years then in OMS? Tell me a little bit about that. It's rocky roads, bumps, challenges. What?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, we started a business in 2016. We've probably gone through the majority of world issues that could cause a business to fail, especially based in the lubricants and plastics industry.
World issues so far.
so far, and obviously continue. But we're kind of like the worst of everything, plastic and oil. But I think also as well, what we like to do is we like to put a positive spin on everything, and definitely our products and services help companies achieve the sustainability. They help their machinery run more effectively. So we're increasing operational efficiency. We're reducing hydraulic related issues. So I would kind of put that spin there on that actually, although we're a service provider and a lubricant provider into the plastics industry, we can actually help you run more effectively as a business. So yeah, but lots of challenges.
Is that important to businesses these days that you're seeing? The whole sustainability piece, is it becoming genuinely more important? Or is it a bit of a box ticking exercise?
I think, to be honest, I still do believe that unfortunately a lot of it is maybe a bit of a box ticking. However, our customer base ranges from kind of multinational blue chip tier one, where they have to demonstrate sustainability goals and drives, down to kind of trade mold shops, where the way that we work with them might be a little bit more of guiding them through it and saying, look, if sustainability has got to be important to every business, but I think the smaller companies maybe see the benefits in their bottom line, so they can kind of again put the narrative of increased sustainability. If our products and services can save them from, say, changing a proportional valve on an injection molding machine, which may cost them £8,000, for example, and also the downtime of the machine. So that's kind of where you can put these spins and like I say,
it's a
the
different
narratives.
Story to tell, isn't it? I guess from a commercial conversation, it sounds like you've always had that knack, and I guess others that haven't had that knack, where it is more about just the price. It's just the price. The sustainability piece appears to be almost pushing people down. You need to know more about the application of it, the benefits of it, the return on an investment as a project and a solution, not just a transaction.
Of course,
it sounds like you're quite well placed for that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main things that we say is it's all about education. As I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, lubricants, particularly hydraulic oil, is seen as a commodity item. When you're trying to kind of upsell from a performance, or upsell from a cost/performance, you've got to be able to educate your customers in the benefits of using higher performing products. And it tends to be, it's kind of a journey, isn't it? And implementing an effective oil management program is a journey with a company, because typically they've never seen the care of the hydraulic system as a benefit. They just see, if they do anything, a cost to the bottom line. But I guess it's also kind of working in partnership with companies. So one of our longest standing customers, they kind of saw us a bit of, or the maintenance manager saw us a bit of a threat when we first came in to work with them, because you're taking work off my guys. But as the partnership and the relationship developed, it was kind of seen more of we're a benefit to him because
you're helping my guys do their job better, almost.
Yeah, and they can focus on more important things. Let us do all the dirty work inside your oil tanks. Let us kind of implement a structure that longer term you see a reduction in your maintenance spends, and then from a production efficiency side, you're seeing benefits from that aspect as well. So, but it takes that time to kind of nurture. And even with these guys now, 10 years in, we're still looking at different applications on site to look at ways of improving processes, improving reliability, and it's really interesting. It's really interesting, and it's we continue to kind of develop with our customers.
It sounds fantastic. 10 years in now. You just mentioned there we're 10 years in. What's the next 10 years looking like?
The next 10 years is looking at continuing the technical advancement. So we've already introduced, very recently introduced 2 new ranges of hydraulic oil. So based on more advanced base oil technology, and looking at particular applications where we see the benefits. So one of them is a PAO ester base oil with a detergency additive, specifically for fast cycling applications, high oil temperatures, where we know that coupled with oil analysis, a regular oil analysis program, we can control the life of the oil over a long period of time. We have unique products which will continue to be developed. So one of those is a product called VRT Ultra Clean for varnish removal of systems. So we talk about, kind of like the pains that the companies go for, like sticking valves, overheating hydraulic systems. That's basically due to degradation and generation of varnish within systems. Kind of going back a bit, but it's still kind of one of our flagship products is our energy efficient grade hydraulic oil. So we were actually contacted by Lubrizol to kind of be the center point of trials to compare energy consumption between this grade of hydraulic oil and mineral oils. So we achieved 2.4 million data points over a trial, which generated savings of 8.5% kilowatt. So that's still a product that will be promoted into not just the plastics industry, but across kind of all hydraulic sectors.
And do you see the business growing in terms of people, or are you happy with your culture you've created, the team, and the values you've got?
No, we definitely need to grow. So we brought Jordan, our latest technician, on 2 years ago. So he's been with us 2 years now. We probably needed to bring him in a couple of years before, but we're also looking at different industries now. So venturing away from the plastics and looking at things like power generation.
There's the entrepreneur in you.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've got to start scaling up now. Yes, like I say, marine, power generation. We've formed really strong technical partnerships as well with people within reliability, mainly the reliability industry, to help us learn. So I kind of want to learn, and for the business to learn different industries, and to enable us to do that, we've got to be trained. There's a chap called Wayne Hubble who is kind of like my guidance guru, and we're kind of trailblazing a little bit in different areas, and trying to cause a little bit of disruption in different markets as well. And we've got some unique products as well that has helped us develop, which will be on show at the Interplast event on the 2nd to the 4th of June. So get yourself
this might
to the
go
NEC.
after that date, Jamie, so that might not be necessary. Yeah. So as we do wrap up, you said very early on, I've probably grown as a person. As I get older, I realise how much I've grown as a person. I just think, in closing, for them that's listening, what is your biggest lesson that you would share with someone? What is your biggest learning to someone who maybe 10, 15 years behind you in their career path? You look back now, what's the learning that you've taken personally?
Well, I think if you've got that itch in you to do whatever you want to do, Whether that be kind of, you don't necessarily have to be starting your own business, or it might be your own kind of personal development within a business, kind of go for it. I think in life, if you don't at least go, I've given that a try, then you'll never know. If you are of an inquisitive nature and a nature where you want to develop yourself, then learn, particularly in these industries that we work in, there's a lot of resource. There's a lot of people with a lot of knowledge, and a lot more knowledge certainly than what I've got. So kind of work with those to benefit yourself as a person in kind of your role and personal development as well. So I think in a way, I kind of think I wish I'd have done things a little bit earlier. But also on the flip side, time has got to be right. So, and I think, kind of 10 years ago for me, the time was right to do it. And fingers crossed, it continues. You're
only looking
in
forward,
the direction
Jamie,
that we are.
so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Things come to challenge you in life, but you've got to kind of work through it and get over it, and have the right people around you as well. Both personally and professionally, because that certainly helps.
Brilliant. It certainly does. And I think, listen, I'm so glad we found this time to dissect your biography. So thank you for doing so. Just in closing, just tell us how we can connect with you.
Probably LinkedIn is the best place for both my personal profile and for OMS LubriTek to give us a follow. We try and do a lot of personal things on the company LinkedIn page as well. It's not just all pictures of oil tanks and kind of yeah, I know, sorry. But yeah, I'd say LinkedIn's probably is the best place to reach out, and I think it's just anybody really, don't have to be kind of in the specific industries that we're in. It's good to talk, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, it is absolutely, and congratulations again on the running. Good luck with it all, and we'll keep up to date with your story, Jamie. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate that. Cheers, Locke. Thank you.
Lubricant Expo Europe is back at Messe Düsseldorf for its 5th year, taking place September 15 to 17, 2026. Lubricant Expo Europe is the must-attend annual event for professionals looking to discover or promote latest advances in lubricant and lubrication technology. Whether you're an engineer, executive, or industry professional, this free-to-attend exhibition and conference connects lubricant solution providers with end-user buyers and the entire chemical and equipment supply chain, with over 320 exhibitors including Kluber, Petro-Canada, Afton, Infineon, Lubrizol, Castrol, Total Energies, Brooker, and many more. Join us and see for yourself.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Blend. Be sure to follow us to catch next and future episodes as we continue to explore the people within the lubricant market.